So I think about a year ago when I really started to open up and learn to love myself and learned that I'm fine on my own. I'm great. And then just that's when it all opened for me. And it's true when you stop looking because you are content and doing fine by yourself, that is when the right person comes along. And people have been saying it forever. And I thought it was a bunch of crock.
Welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. Today I have a fellow podcaster, Christine Lalonde. She is the host of her podcast called 50 Shades of Bullshit. And they talk about everything from dating to mental health to anything you could think of that would benefit the listeners out there. So today I wanted her to come on my show kind of on a personal mission. But Christine, welcome to the show. How are you?
Great. Thank you, May. I'm happy to be here. I'm doing fantastic.
You look fantastic. I love the blue in your hair. It's so trendy and so
It's kind
stylish.
of light right now. It's normally very vibrant blue, but I've been down at the beach and
Yeah,
it's kind of like coming out.
yeah, nice, nice. So you are broadcasting this from Dana Point. I am
I
in
am.
Colorado, and I always love connecting with people who have dating stories, especially, dating Asian people. So tell me a little bit about your love life and why I dragged you on the show.
Well, I got a divorce about 13 years ago. I dated and was married to this man for 10 years, and we have a daughter together. Have two older daughters from a previous marriage. I'm a hopeless, a happy, person who believes in love, so I go for it. And I just had a really bad picker at the time. But since my divorce, I've had a long history of 13 years of dating and dating online. And 11 years ago, I met a really, really amazing, attractive man online. And we dated and lived together for 2 years. We both had young children. So it was incredibly overwhelming. I mean, I'd been a single mom for so long, and I don't know, it was a lot to have to deal with a lot of children. And I think the hard part was that he had lost his wife at about the time that I had gotten a divorce. So the kids were still going through a lot mentally and emotionally, and I tried to be there for him, but I just don't know if I was capable. And his family lived literally across the street. He's half Asian, he's half Caucasian, half Chinese, and his Asian mother was way too involved, fancied herself, the person to tell us what we should and shouldn't do with the kids and how our life should be. And it was just very controlling. And I just couldn't really do it anymore. So we actually called it off 2 years after being together, and we parted as friends. He's a really great guy. He never said anything rude or derogatory towards me. He didn't break up badly with me. We broke up as friends. We did a really good job. His family, on the other hand, his mother was really aggressive and very rude. And I did a terrible thing. I snapped back by text. She was sending me these texts, and it was this whole drama. And I snapped back, I don't understand why you have to be so interfering. I don't understand why you have to interfere with your son. You think you'd want him to be happy, all these things. And I just kind of snapped back at her. And I thought, my parting words, I might as well get him in. So I I shot her these texts that just said, I don't know why you're such a biatch, and maybe you should take a back seat, and your son is an adult, let him, be one. And then fast forward 9 years later, I'd had a string of 9 years of horrible dating. Just awful. When I started my podcast a year and a half ago, a lot really changed for me. I have a lot of professionals that come on to talk about self-healing and self-help and finding who you are so that you can find what you're really looking for with love. And I think that just really changed my life. And I followed everything that my podcast guests said to do. And so my life really evolved and changed. And I'm a completely different person today. And so I decided to go back on. I had taken a short break. I dated someone long distance who was a big fat liar and was not who he said he was. And then until I went to meet him, realized that he was not who he said he was, a catfish basically. I decided to go back online. So I went back online and I went on a date in Orange County. And while I was there, my ex-boyfriend, Christian, who was the half Asian that I lived with, was also back online from a long relationship he had gotten out of. And I came across his how do you say that? Algorithm, whatever. So I came
Algorithm.
up, yes, I can't say the word. I came up on his who you might like. And so he super swiped, super liked me, and then sent me a text that says, "Does the universe have other plans for us? Ha ha ha." And knowing full well I'm not one to ever go backwards. Once I'm over something and done, I'm not going back. So he thought, well, at least we could be friends again. And I happened to be coming down to Orange County to be working the following week. And I said, hey, I'm going to be down there. Do you want to hang out? He said, absolutely. So I walked in the door and it was wild because it was like electricity. It just shocked me, and same for him. And we just it from that moment on, it was like we were destined to be together again. And we decided to get back together. It's been 8.5 months now, almost 9 months, and we're blissful. We're so happy. But I'd say a couple of months ago, his mother tried to interfere again,
Oh
and
no.
she made a plan to come down here. She lives close to where I live up in the valley, and she came down here, and she knew I was down here, and she just marched right in the house and just told me that if she thought she'd never have to deal with me again, and that what'd she say? She said, I told everybody if I ever saw you again, I'd spit in your face. And I could have struck back. I could have said, get out, go away. But I just said, I feel really bad for you that after 9 years of holding on to this, that you are still hung up with this. I mean, I really wish you could have let things go, because I'm a different person 9 years later. Your son's a different person 9 years later. I would think that something like that you could have let go. And she's just like, no, you were terrible to me on text. And I said, I was in pain
Yeah.
and I was going through a lot. And I had an opportunity to tell you what I really thought. And I should have handled that in a more mature way. And I should have, really thought about my impact. And I made a mistake, and I sincerely apologize. It kind of took the air out of the balloon. She didn't have much to say after that. I'm still not invited to the family stuff,
Oh.
but I'm actually good with that.
So she speaks perfect English.
Yeah,
She can communicate with you very well, so it's not like
yeah.
there's a language barrier or
Mm,
miscommunication. So why
no.
do you think she doesn't like you?
So this is the thing. She likes everyone that Christian dates in the beginning until she doesn't. I think she is thinking that she can mold or control, and when she can't, because he dates strong, independent American women, and completely opposite of what well, she's a very strong Asian woman, but I think that it's just, I don't know, quite frankly, she didn't like his wife. She didn't like any of his ex-girlfriends. She did say to me, at least with this last girl that he dated, she lived close to him, so he didn't have to drive around to see her. And
But isn't she excited that he drives up to see you and sees her at the same time? Like, doesn't he have to go
no,
up there and see her?
yeah, no, could care less. She could care less. No, I think that she has a situation where she's the boss. She is the boss.
Yeah.
And she's not in control of who he sees, who he spends time with. And I don't know why that's such a big deal, but for some reason it's a very big deal to her.
But haven't you grown on her? Haven't you, do you make a point of saying, "Hey, can we just start over? Can we just go and do something fun, just the 2 of us, and see where it would
Well,
lead?"
I did say to her, I would hope that we could wipe the slate clean and start fresh, and give each other a chance again. That was the last time I saw her. I don't want to stir the pot and get those hornets going. I'm not interested in in that. I know that there's a lot of things that she says about me to the family, and I'm not quite sure that I want to have anything to do with it.
So,
So,
what do you suggest for women out there who are dating Asian men? What advice do you have for the Caucasian women who are dating Asian men who have a strong mother like that?
I do think that having a relationship with her would be really great. I would love to have that same relationship. I told her that I missed having the relationship we used to have. We used to go to plays together. We used to go shopping together. But once that deteriorated in her head, she just can't let that go. I think that it would be amazing to have a relationship with her again, but she just really doesn't want one. And for my advice for other Caucasian women who are with Asian men who their family just doesn't like them, it's like, don't let that change your relationship with the man. Don't, because I allowed that to destroy our relationship before, and we almost were never back together. And we just got lucky. Well, I honestly, maybe fate did have something to do with it. Maybe we were destined to be together because we're incredible. I've never been happier.
Yeah.
And I do think that, if I hadn't gotten past thinking that it doesn't matter. They are not involved in our relationship. They are not our relationship. Our relationship is between the two of us. If he wants to go and spend family time with them and have holidays with them, he is more than welcome to. I will do my own thing. I will go do my, if it's during the holidays, I'll go on my own trip. I'll do my own thing. I just had to learn to let that go and not let their thoughts, feelings, and desires change our relationship.
Do your kids get along with his kids?
Yeah. And not his oldest one. His oldest one is 18 now, and she still has a lot of issues with her mom passing, and spent a lot of time with the grandmother who has opinions. So she's not so much anymore. She used to be best friends with my youngest daughter. They're not anymore, which is too bad. We really wish that she was part of our life. But she's pulled herself away, and eventually I think she'll come around, which is fine. But my kids absolutely love Christian. They absolutely love him. They think he is the greatest person I've ever dated. And he really is. He's incredibly attentive. He's incredibly sweet. He's very loving. We're really compatible. We just have a really strong, communication skills together, and we just have an incredible relationship. And I had to really tell myself, forget about the family. He's in his 50s. We're in our 50s. We're in our 50s. The hell are we letting the adults, the older generation, say anything about our lives? We're adults. We're very capable of making rational, wonderful, great decisions, and our kids, like, ooh, I'm knocking things around. Our kids are great, and as long as my kids and his kids are fine and happy, that's all that matters. And we don't need the permission or approval.
So you think maybe now that you've been together for 8 months now, this second time around, Don't
Yeah.
you think his mom will be like, "You know what? Maybe I'll just back off." Like, it seems like something drove them together. They're going to be together. I just need to accept it. Like,
Yeah.
will she ever come around like that, you think? And just not
Maybe.
not even, like, have to get along with you, but just stop fighting, just be more
Yeah.
neutral.
Yeah. Well, when we were talking, I said to her, "Your son really loves me." And she said, "Yeah, obviously he does. I can see that he does." And I said, "Well, don't you think that that would be the most important thing to you, is that he is incredibly happy and that he just is loved as much as he loves me, that I love him just as much, and that, I make him happy?" And she didn't really say anything. So I really hope that maybe she can get past it someday. Maybe someday she'll surprise me and say, "Oh, is Christine coming?" Or say, "You can invite Christine to the holiday stuff." I mean, if it happens, I will go, I will smile, I will be kind and loving. But if it doesn't happen, it is no longer the end of the world for me. I used to think that I had to have a relationship with his mom for us to be happy, and I do not.
Yeah.
It is okay. And he's not torn up about it at all. He said, "If I had to make a choice, I know exactly what my choice would be." And I told him I don't want him to make a choice between me or his family. If he wants to go do family things, don't worry about me. I'm a grown ass woman. I can take care of myself, and it's okay. But I'm not torn up about it anymore. It is not the do all end all for me to have that relationship anymore.
Yeah. So you've kinda accepted it, on your terms. You're like, "You know what? If she
Mhm.
wants to come around, then that's great. If not, I'm okay with it." So that's good. That's a good,
Yeah.
good. So tell me a little bit about, some of your past guests on your show that help you come to this understanding, or lessons that you've learned the past few years about breakups, relationships, and
Mhm.
anything that you wanna share with the listeners.
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I had truly learned is that loving yourself is the most important thing. And I used to think that was a crock of crap. I honestly thought, who cares if I love myself? My capability of loving others is so big, and I'm fine. If someone loves me, that's wonderful. But I thought that it was just honestly horse crap, to have to love yourself first. And I learned the hard way that you have to have respect and love for yourself before somebody else can give you love and respect. And people who are really down on themselves, they're not going to find somebody who's going to lift them up. They have to lift themselves. I think that was the most important thing I learned. I learned how to be happy alone, and to be secure and thrilled. If I was single today, I would be just fine. I would be happy. I would be like enjoying my life. Whereas before, I thought I had to be in a relationship to find happiness. I was always sad and depressed and alone, and I needed someone to go to the movies with. I needed someone to go to dinner with. I needed, and I realized that I don't. I have everything right here. I'm I really love who I am. I really love my life. And it really changed me. And, they taught me to also, this is a huge one for me. And I tell people all the time, this is massive. You have to learn that you cannot ask for something that you want and still talk about what you don't want. Okay. Meaning, when someone said to me, "What do you want when you're looking for a relationship? What do you want when you're looking for a partner?" And I would used to say, I don't want him to not have this, and he can't be that, and he can't be this. And I realized I was manifesting all of those things I didn't want. And when I realized that you have to stop talking about what you don't want and only focus on what you do want, a good job, a loving person, someone who can be affectionate and communicate easy, and give me my love languages. That was really important to learn. I tell people all the time, stop talking about what you don't want, only focus on what you want. And then with the love languages, I also had a handful of professionals come on who talk about love languages, and people get really confused about that. People think that when you have a love language, that's the so say my love language is affection, quality time. Okay. My thoughts used to be that I had to give that to another person. That's my love language. I have to give that to a person. They have to accept it because they're getting it from me. And I learned the hard way again, and by learning through these professionals, that it's not about your love language when you're dating somebody else. So you have to learn what that person's love language is and give them what their love language is. My love language is for somebody else to give to me, not me to give to them. So I used to say, but I'm giving them so much affection, and I'm pampering them and I'm loving them. This is what I want and I'm not getting it back. And it's because I was picking people who had different love languages than me.
Right.
So that was a big thing that I think people need to learn, that we talk about a lot on my show.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get that. My love language is gifts. I like to give gifts. I tend to give a lot of gifts to my husband, but that's how I show love. But he doesn't buy me gifts because that's not his love language. His love language is physical touch and uh, words of affirmation. So there's different ways. Yeah, I guess you just have to find out what someone else's love language is so you know
Hmm.
how to show them love by doing those things. But yeah,
Exactly.
that's interesting that you said you had to love yourself first before you can give love to others. How did you realize how to love yourself? How did you figure out how to love yourself?
I actually took what is called breath work classes. And some people would probably think that was really hokey, but breath work is incredibly intensified in going deep to figure out blockages, and what you're lacking within yourself to fulfill for yourself. And when I was taking these breathwork classes, I had a huge breakthrough, a massive breakthrough. And it was like I just lost it. I was sobbing. I'm lying there, breath work, and I'm heaving, I'm crying so hard because I realized I felt like I was never good enough. I was never worthy. I was not good enough for anybody. That's how I felt. I didn't feel like I was good enough for anything. And when I had that breakthrough, I thought, oh my God, I've always felt that I'm not good enough. And then I stopped. And when I calmed down and I let that go, because in breath work, you're told to just go with it. If you're feeling an emotion, you freaking go with it, and you walk right through it. And when I got through to the other side, when I let it go, I realized, wait a minute, I am good enough. But what's even more important is that I'm good enough for myself. And I thought, holy cow, I always thought that I wasn't worthy for my own self. And when I realized I was good enough for myself, I was everything I should be, and then I accepted myself for who I was, then I was like, wow, I'm a great person. I love who I am. I love what my life has become. And I just accepted it and realized that the love I really needed my whole life was mine and not somebody else's. And if I get someone else's, that's a bonus. The core value of loving myself and respecting who I am and knowing that I am good enough for me is was everything.
So that helped you see all the other stuff and help everything else fall into place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then when I really stopped to think, okay, when dating coaches and dating professionals and psychologists would come on my show, they would say to me, "What are you looking for, Christine?" And I'd say, "Oh, well, like I said, I would kind of give some vague of things I didn't want." And when I stopped to really think, wait a minute, what do I want? Because I realized I was manifesting the wrong things. I was getting all the things I wasn't saying. Duh, that was logic. So I thought, okay, here we go. I'm going to start doing what they said to do and start thinking about what I want. And when I really stopped to think, what were the most important things to me, and then I would focus on that. All these men that used to come into my life through dating that were horrible. Oh, they were, oh, I'm sure they were great people, but they were horrible for me. And when I realized what I was doing, then when I started focusing on the good things, all the things that would be really, really important to me, then I started seeing that in people. And quite frankly, Christian popped right back because I even made a comment on one of my shows that I had an ex-boyfriend that was exactly all those things that I said I wanted, but there were just too many obstacles before. And, we're no longer together. And like I said, I never go backwards. So I never thought that it would change, but, I got lucky.
I am so glad that you were open to the idea of, okay, let's try it out again and let's see. So, because what if you said, you know what, I never look back. I'm just going to move forward and just really not give them a chance. Now, you wouldn't be as happy as you are now, 8 months into your second take on this relationship. So,
Well,
how
he
about,
said that actually.
yeah,
He said that night. He said, "But you never go backwards."
yeah,
And I said, "You are right, I don't. But how I look at this, how I'm looking at this right now, is that I've been given an opportunity to move forward on a higher level with you because you are a changed person. I'm a changed person. We still have the same things we loved about each other, but we have elevated ourselves. We've done the work, we've grown, and we are coming together at a completely different point
yeah.
in our lives."
So, what if you started manifesting a positive, neutral relationship with his mom? Would that work? I mean,
I
can we
never
make
thought to
this
do
an
that.
experiment? I mean, after
I think
this
I should do that.
podcast, you can manifest it and come back to me 6 months later and see what else happens.
Girl, well, let me
I'm
tell you, I am a manifester and I'm a really strong, powerful manifester. I have honed my skills. I
yeah,
am really good. Everything I manifest comes to
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And I never thought to do that. So thank you, May. I'm actually going to give that a shot.
And hopefully your relationship would be so good and solid that she would like to come on my podcast and give us an update. And
Wouldn't that be
because
funny?
I I love Asian moms, Asian people. Like I feel like I connect really well with them. And you seem like such a normal, nice person. It's like, why can't she just give you the benefit of the doubt? Especially it's your second chance at love. And come on, let's be honest, finding love in our 50s, over 40s is a little bit tougher. So if you even
Yeah.
find somebody that you're so excited about, it's like it's such a gift. It's such a gift. I mean,
Yeah.
merging two families together, having the opportunity to be able to drive to each other's places. You're not even long distance, really,
You're right.
like
Right.
there's so many things have fallen into place. You would just hope that, man, she would have an aha moment and realize, you know what? I'm lucky my son is happy now. He could be miserable.
That would be nice. I think that I would love that for him,
Yeah.
especially. For me, whatever, it is what it is. I don't know if she's capable only because she just really holds on to things for a very long time. Hopefully, she sees with time how good I am to him, how great our relationship is, how happy he is, and I have a really great relationship with his son, and he does still talk to them. And so hopefully they
Yeah.
see, over time that, you know, this is a really good thing. And, for his sake, I hope so. Because I'd hate for him to have to choose between me and his family for anything, which if there's ever a chance that he has to decide, oh, if he's going to go to Thanksgiving with them or spend it with me, just your family's not here forever. I am. Go be with your family.
Yeah.
I wish that it could be all of us, but if it isn't, if it never gets to that point, I am okay with it. I've come to peace with it and not be resentful. You can't, that's the best thing, that when people have a situation where the family doesn't like them and they don't know what to do, just let it go. You can't let it enter your relationship. You cannot let it taint what you have within yourselves. You can't let that pierce your bubble, and just let it go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was just talking to a friend the other day and I was like, man, I am actually kind of lucky. I do have in-laws that I like because I lived in LA and I moved out here to Colorado because my husband's from here and I like my in-laws. I enjoy hanging out with them. I genuinely like them. And I'm thinking, gosh, how much harder would it be if you didn't get along, And yeah,
Yeah,
so I hope that you will use your manifesting powers
I'm gonna
and
try
work
it.
your magic. I'm excited for you to do that. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. That's a good idea, actually.
so dating in your 50s, what are some tips you can give women and men out there who are dating in their 50s, like you, second time around, have kids, older kids, like what's the secret to meshing, combining two families like that? Like when do you
Yeah,
move in? When do you meet the kids? Like what are some ideas with that?
burn the luggage, burn the baggage. People in Okay, if you've reached your 50s and you're still holding on to trauma, drama, and past situations, your future relationships are not going to work out. No matter how much you want them to, they are not going to work out. And we're in our 50s. Let's get our crap together. We're children of the 80s. We got this. We've been through it all. Just burn the baggage. Get rid of it. You got to find a way to move forward and let it go. If your ex-husband cheated, it does not mean that every man in the world is going to cheat on you. If you were treated this way or that way, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to treat you that way. And I find that men and women who are divorced and head into dating are hanging on. They're still talking about their exes. They're still talking about what they went through. Let it go. Move forward. You can't move forward in a healthy relationship until you let go of the drama in the past. So it's learning to just release it and go in with a clean slate. When you go in with a clean slate, you don't have any crazy expectations. Just enjoy the love, enjoy that. When it comes to blending families, that's a hard thing, especially if you have kids that doesn't like the others, or that they don't like your significant other. It's really hard. Hopefully by the time you've gotten to your 50s, your kids are older and moved on. Christian and I are at a place. My oldest daughter's 29, then 26. His is 18. My last one's 16. His last one's 15. So we only have a couple more years with the last two. They get along, thank goodness. They were friends as kids. But when it comes to families not being able to mix, that's just a hard situation. I think that as a woman, we have to go in just being ourselves and being kind to the kids, and realizing that we can't mother them and we can't be their moms. And if they accept us in that role, that's wonderful, but you can't take on that role. You have to step back and let their situation be, you know handle it. The ex-wife, the ex-husband, the whatever, they have to deal with it. You just be a constant loving source of someone they can turn to. If like my youngest daughter loves her stepmom, And it took me a while to accept that. It made me upset. I thought it was something I was lacking in myself that she wanted in her. And I realized it wasn't about me at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't about our relationship at all. She's fine with me. We're great. We have a great relationship. She's not lacking anything. What she has now is another woman to give her a good example and to be loving and to be there for her. She has another mom. I'm good with that now. It took me a long time and I came to terms with it. And I also came to terms with the fact that my ex-husband and his wife deserve to be happy. And it's not about me. We did not work out. That is fine. I actually am really grateful they found each other.
What did you learn? How did you heal in the last 9 years, from when you broke up the first time to now? Like you said, you grew, you're a different person, you're not that same person. Like, when was
Yeah.
that moment that you realized you were a better person? Like, how did you change? What are some of the things that you did or steps you've taken?
I think it was about a year ago. The steps I took was learning to meditate, learning to be when you if you're fighting meditation, it means you cannot be alone with yourself. And that's what I learned. I couldn't be alone with myself. And so I started taking meditation classes. Well, not so much classes. I learned online. I found this girl that kind of taught me online, and I meditate. And when I started meditating, I started seeing all these things that I thought were flaws in myself. And then that's when I thought, well, someone suggested breath work to me and that it would really change my outlook not only on myself but on life. So I started the breath work, and the breath work literally changed my life. And listening to all these professionals all the time saying, you know, you got to learn to do this, you got to learn to do that. Now some had examples on how to do that, some didn't, and a lot suggested the breath work again. So I finally bit the bullet and did the breath work. And you do it from the, safety of your home. And I laid in my bed with my eye mask and, turned my phone to the breath work session and listened to it and just went through it and didn't have any expectations. Um, so I think about a year ago when I really started to open up and learn to love myself and learned that I'm fine on my own, I'm great. And then just that's when it all opened for me. And it's true when you stop looking because you're content and doing fine by yourself, that is when the right person comes along. And people have been saying it forever. And I thought it was a bunch of crock.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of it has to be, like you said, be content with yourself and that you're not focusing on all that negative stuff or focusing on different things. You're just
Yeah.
happy being you. I've never done breath work, but now I'm curious. I will try to do that. You
You have
manifest
to
good
do
things with your future mother-in-law, and I will try the breath work and we'll come back and compare notes to what we do.
it. Yeah, there
Okay.
it's really incredible. Also, I found this woman. I will have to give that information to you. I found this woman who talks to you like we had a video chat, okay, just like this, a Zoom call. And she dives, I don't know how to explain it. She is a psychic, but she's a healer, emotional healer, and she does not takes nothing from me. I tell her nothing. She knows my name. She knows when I was born. She knows the time I was born. And she said, and it was incredible. She said, "You have a lot of childhood trauma. I see this little girl behind this wall, and she is in a ball, and she is just, you know, protecting herself from all this stuff coming at her, and we got to get to her and we have to heal her." So she helped me mentally tear down the wall, and then she helped me emotionally accept all the things that flooded in when we took the wall down, and she helped me embrace and heal the little girl inside of me. And I get emotional talking about it. But it was incredible. It was the combo between listening to professionals about what to do and how to do it, doing the breath work, doing this work with this woman, and I'm it changed my career path. It changed my relationship with my daughters. It got better. It's changed my relationship with myself. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I would love that information. So send it to me. But
Yeah,
yeah, well, Christine, thank you so much for all of this chatting and fun talking. I mean, I totally enjoyed it. I can't believe like our hour is almost up. But
I know.
what's one last thing you want to tell or share with the audience? It could be any advice, it doesn't have to be dating, it could just be life advice. It seems like you have a great life and just one little tidbit you want to leave to the listeners before we sign off.
If you have the opportunity to learn more about manifesting, do, because manifesting also really changed my life. It got me on a more positive, journey. And it also helped me realize what my dreams were and that I was avoiding them because I didn't think I would be good enough. I had that imposter syndrome. And when you have a dream, that is actually your passion. That is something that you should go for no matter what. And manifesting helped me realize that, and it completely changed my trajectory on my personal life and my job. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've been in a lot of different areas of entrepreneurship, and it gave me the guts and the drive to go, whatever, if I fail, I fail. Who cares? I'm at least doing what I love to do. And it changed my whole career. So yeah, if you have the opportunity to learn about breath work, learn about manifesting, and just open your heart to it. It's not a bunch of frou frou crystal work. It really can change your outlook on how you see and perceive things. And when that changes, the world opens for you.
I love it. I love it. Christine, tell people a little bit about you because we never really talked about your life. All we talked about was your podcast, but what else do you do?
Well, back in the day, I moved to Los Angeles because I was modeling and acting, and I got a contract out here, and that was 25 years ago. And I retired from modeling and acting about 10 years ago. I was 43 or 44 when I retired. And I've been doing event planning for the last 15 years, kind of overlapping with producing and directing or producing, not directing, producing. And I wasn't really happy with event planning anymore, especially with COVID. It obliterated my business for a while. And I just really, really, really wanted to direct and produce my own work and do a documentary. And that just was my goal. And during COVID, I just set an intention. I went to bed, and the next morning, that documentary was right there in my brain. And I shot out of bed, and I opened my computer, and I wrote it all out. And since then, that was 3 years ago. I have two different production companies now, and I'm producing a documentary, a docu-series, a travel series, two short films, and I have a half a dozen other projects already lined up. And it just, you know, manifesting and figuring out who I was just really gave me that drive to be able to have that. So now I'm a producer and a director. I still have my event planning business, but I am producing and directing now. And along with that comes my podcast. So I produce my own podcast.
So you are busy. Well,
I
thank you
am.
so much, Christine, for joining me today
Thank
on the
you.
Asian Dating Podcast. And for ladies out there, if you're single, I would love for you to register with me at twoasianmatchmakers.com. Meet a great guy, an Asian guy, a half Asian guy, a
Ooh,
Caucasian guy. All of them are great. So, and then if
yeah.
you're out there, you want to hire a matchmaker, I would love to help you out. If I can't help you out, I'd be happy to refer you to someone that I think you'd be a good match with. So thank you very much, Christine. I will
Thank
talk
you.
to you everybody later. Bye.
Bye.